you don't have to curse it. You're worth it. Lift the script. Flip the script. Change my scene. Do all the things that I am. My dreams. Flip the script. Do what I want.
Hi, I'm Dr. Chanel Sermon, and I bring to you Royal Empowerment. You can stay up to date with me by following me on Instagram at IamPrettyDoc, or you can also follow my Facebook page, Dr. Chanel Sermon. Enjoy the broadcast, and thank you. Hi, everyone. I hope all is well with you. This is some royal empowerment for you. I want you all to be encouraged because a lot of times when we are not thinking or we're not on guard, sometimes you'll find that some people they're on assignment for the enemy and they'll do things to try to throw you off course. So with that being said, when you belong to God, you are royalty. And the title of this broadcast, or the title of this sermon for the broadcast, is Royal People Effortlessly Intimidate Scared Folks. All right, let me repeat that. Royal people effortlessly intimidate scared folk. You know why? Because when you live in your life and you minding your business and you got your mind in the right place, you ain't worrying about a person, you're not studying anybody, you just taking care of what's in your lane, then that speaks confidence. But the most important reason why you as royalty can effortlessly scare some folks, all right, is because of God in you. And when you have God in you, you have light in you. And when you have light in you and somebody's walking in darkness, there is going to be some type of opposition in most cases. And when I say opposition, and you know, you got some people you can reach that's walking in darkness, but they want to be enlightened. And I'm not talking about those folks. You got, those folks that want to be enlightened, they're going to listen. They're going to try to find answers. But to those that are comfortable walking in darkness until you come around, oh, those are the ones that you're going to be having to watch a show with. So again, with you having God inside of you, you're going to start see people acting funny. All right. So I want you to be encouraged in knowing that every action done against you don't need a response. I know the way that we've been trained and taught in this world, the way that we have been conditioned to think, that, okay, you got to go tit for tat. No, you don't. Tit for tat, I know from my experience, it really don't end. Or if it does, because you've played tit for tat, it might be that it doesn't turn out the way that you want it to be. And so that's why you don't do tit for tat. Okay. Tit for tat is a waste of time. Tit for tat, it drains you. It drains your energy. When you're thinking about how I'm going to go pay somebody back, how I'm going to go do this to somebody, you know what's happening there? Your focus is being moved to a different place where you could be thinking about how can you build or work on or improve your career? How can you build and work on improve your ministry? How can you build and improve on whatever the assignment is or the project is or your vocation is? When you're doing tit for tat, you're taking energy that can be put in to becoming a better person. Okay. And the more you invest in yourself in doing the right things that you know is right, not trying to play games with people, because some people, they do stuff to make you mad and they want you to respond. But the more you take that time to work on you, the better off you will be, okay? So don't give an immediate response to people who do things that you don't like. I'm going to give you an example. So there was a time where I was in my room at a hotel, and the housekeeper came, her and another person, they're talking loud, and they're in front of my door. And I, being nosy, and the reason why, here's the thing, it'd have been different if they just kept on walking, but they're standing in front of my door. So I decided, well, since they had this loud conversation, I want to hear what they're talking about. I'm curious. I just wanted to educate myself on what's going on outside my door. So I stood there at the door and I listened. I even looked through the peephole. And then all of a sudden, the one that comes in and would do my room, on that day, this person had been talking about me. This person had been saying stuff and tried to say it low. And so when I realized that this person was talking about me, I could have went and told the management that, hey, this person's talking about me right in front of my door. And I didn't do that. I didn't. First of all, what I did, I prayed. I prayed because you want to do the right thing. Some people are hurting. Some people don't know better. Some people are foolish, hurting, and don't know better. And my goal was not to get someone fired that needed to make their money. That person may well have deserved to have been fired, but my goal as a person who considers herself in some ways a humanitarian was not to just go and complain so that she could get fired. I decided to pray to God about what to do. And so what I did, I decided, you know what? I'm going to just take care of my room myself, because I don't want her in my room, and I don't want this person to feel as if I really do need any of her services. I'm not going to play tit for tat. I do have every right to go and report this person, but I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do it. At the moment, I'm not going to talk about it. If later on need be, perhaps, maybe if had that problem persisted, then yeah, because then it's like you're not scared to lose your job. But, in that moment, I've been like, okay, I'm not going to do that to her. I don't even have to, And so I would pray concerning things like that. Also, that person, because I put a sign outside on the door for that person not to come back in my room. I didn't write, don't come back in my room. I just used the regular do not disturb sign that you put on the door. And I left it up there, long enough for that person to know that something was up. The same day that person made that comment, I put the sign out there, and the person couldn't say anything about me or having to come up in my room. And it wasn't that I had left the room nasty. Always try to, gather the towels and put it where the person could get the towels. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not putting the towels on the floor. I'm going to just put the towels on the tub so the person don't have to bend all the way down to pick up towels. I'm over here thinking, okay, I'm making this person's job easy. This person outside talking about me. And so what ended up happening, I had eventually got another housekeeper. And while this person is talking to me, the one that was talking about me came in and decided that I'm going to talk to the other person, but I'm not talking to the person who this room is given to. And I noticed, because then when I look at the person and I decided, okay, is this person trying to say something to me? Or why is this person at my room? This person is not the one that's supposed to be at my room. But the person felt like she was doing something by walking up to my room and not speaking to me, but speaking to the other housekeeper, trying to be low key, disrespectful. And, I didn't get into a frenzy over it. Only thing I did is sit back and just looked at it. I was like, this person really wants to do something. You could have stayed out there to say whatever it is that you had to say to this person. There was no reason for you to come over into my room and be disrespectful if you know you have a problem with me. And as a royal person, you deal with people doing things so that you can see them, so that they can feel like they have the upper hand, so that they want for you to give a response, so that they can have something to talk about. And you got to also take the high road as much as you can too. Michelle Obama once said, when they go low, you go high. So always aim to go high. When people want to do foolish things, when people want to try to provoke you and start stuff with you, do everything you can to be unbothered. Sometimes all you got to do is just be unbothered, and that bothers people. Sometimes all you got to do is just be unmoved, and that agitates people. Why? Because they are walking in darkness. They're not walking in righteousness. So that's why you got to stay encouraged, not give immediate responses to things that people do. Okay, and again, some people will go all out their way to get a reaction from you. Some people will go all out their way just to see what you're going to do, just to see how you're going to react, just to see. And sometimes, and look, I don't want y'all to get it twisted, because some people, you got to let them reach their limits. The Bible lets us know that whatever a man sows, he will reap. You got to give some people enough rope to hang themselves. And I'm speaking metaphorically, not literally. I'm talking about people that keep doing things and then they think nothing's going to happen to them because they keep on doing stuff to you that you don't like, because you done been patient with them, because you done been ignoring stuff, because you done been pushing it to the side. You got some people, it's going to come a time where you're going to have to hit them head on, and it's going to hurt them way more than it's going to hurt you, because you are in the right. And people that are in the wrong, first of all, they are the ones that are jacked up on the inside. Okay? So, just keep going high. And even when you do, or if you do have to respond to something that's getting out of control because you're ignoring things and bypassing things are not working, make sure that you still take the high road when you address things. Okay? Don't let somebody pull you down. Sometimes you got to go ahead and gut punch with the truth. Gut punch with the truth. And you ain't got to call somebody out their name and make up lies to get somebody in trouble or whatever. Just stick to the truth, because the truth is you minding your business, but this person coming around because they want trouble. Okay? So again, when you get to a point where you see that a person is being redundant with coming for you or whatnot, stay on your P's and Q's. And people who have watched my broadcast before always would talk about David. And David always was on his P's and Q's concerning Saul, because when you're around somebody that's coming after you, David obviously knew Saul was going to come after him or was after him for whatever reason. But David knew he had to be on his P's and Q's. He had to be on his P's and Q's. Because when you have that accuser around you, when you have that person that's waiting for you to slip and fall, that's waiting to point a finger at you, then when you do make a mistake, or if you do slip and fall, then they want to say, well, see, he did this, or see, she did that. So you got to stay on your P's and Q's as much as possible. Not only for people not to accuse you, because you're royalty. You as a child of God is reflecting a part of his glory. You're not reflecting all of his glory. You're reflecting a part of his glory. And the part that you're reflecting, that's the part that you got to make sure is being reflected, with integrity. So don't try to be friends with foolish people. Don't deal foolishly with people. When people provoke you, do what you can to get out that situation and make sure that you are in the right. And that's what another thing that I encourage people to do. Make sure you're in the right. Okay. But I want to let you know this too. When you see people go out their way, to show themselves in front of you, that's a sign that is something about you that intimidates them. People that go out their way to get you. There was this one person that had a problem with me elsewhere, and the person that had a problem with me would go and give gifts to other people except for me. And anybody that associated with me, this person would give gifts to other people and just try to cover it up. And with the discernment of God, I was able to see what happened. And God had allowed me to see that what the person was doing, the person was trying to flex power in that given situation to show that I'm gonna manipulate people to like me, and I'm gonna do all this stuff to make you feel low. And that was that person's way of trying to do that. And then I wasn't hurt by it. I really wasn't hurt, because when you a child of God and people do things like that, you get to a point, and I hope you would get to a point, that you don't want nothing from them. You don't want nothing else from them. You don't want a gift from them. Oh, I don't want a gift from somebody that can't stand me. Now, unless for whatever reason, because the wealth of the wicked, that's my portion. The wealth of the wicked is laid out for the just. So if in that case, okay. But generally speaking, whatever gift, whatever applause is coming from a fake heart when it regards me or whoever else, it's like, keep it. It doesn't impress me. I'm not moved. I'm not impressed. I'm not hurt. What God has for me is so much greater. Sometimes you got to look at people misbehaving with you as a sign that they're responding to the greatness in you. When you know that you're walking upright, you got the people that's really not walking upright that's going to act out. When people find that you are a threat, when they think that, or it's not that you are even a threat, it's in their head that you're a threat. But when they get it in their head that you are a threat, guess what? They start acting out. They start trying to do things. They start trying to cover up who you are. They start trying to act like you're a non-factor. They try to go and they do extra stuff. So watch out when people start doing extra stuff. All right. And here's the thing. Okay. I said earlier that the reason why you intimidate people as a royal person of God is not because you're going around trying to make people afraid of you. No, it's because God is with you. And this is what happens too, because they know that they're your enemies. When they know that they're your enemies or whatnot, and if they know God is with you, because Saul knew that God was with David, but Saul eventually came back for David anyway. Okay. But Saul was scared. And so when you start resonating and reflecting the attributes of God, you're showing your light to other people, you're doing good things. People that are not doing what they're supposed to do with God, people that got stuff to hide, those are the ones that are going to try to come and take shots at you. It seems foolish, though, when people know that God is with you, that they're going to come for you anyway. They're going to come and try you anyway. But according to Exodus 23:7, God will cause your enemies, okay? He will cause your enemies to be afraid. And that's based on Exodus 23:27. They're going to be afraid and they're going to turn their backs. They're going to be afraid, okay? Some people don't want to deal with you because they know if they mess with you, they're coming from the wrong person. Some people got to fly close to the sun and get burnt in order to know that it's hot. I had that happen with me. Somebody thought they was going to devour me. And then they obviously didn't know God, because God calls me. Okay? God calls me to handle what was being done or trying to be done to me. God calls me to shut it down. And that got to that person. So when you are a royal child of God and you're walking the way that you're supposed to walk, there are going to be times where you're going to be given that boldness and accessibility in that moment through Christ to do some things that the ordinary people won't do. To address some things that the ordinary person won't do. That's what makes you royal. So don't take your royal anointing lightly. And then when you don't respond to folks doing these things, you're leaving room for God to fight your battles for you. Exodus 14:14 lets us know that the Lord will fight for you. So only thing you got to do is sit back, and sometimes it's uncomfortable to sit back because you don't know what's going on. But God does. God knows what's going on. And some people, when they come for you and they call themselves setting you up, they end up building a trap for themselves. They end up making themselves look bad. Why? Because you're doing the best that you can to live righteously. Why? Because you're trying to do things right, but then you got somebody else that's doing the opposite. And then they pick the wrong person to play with. Some people, they just, when people come to bother and harass you, remember this. Some people pick the wrong person to play with. And that person is not you, because you belong to God. And in Psalm, David even said that when people would dig a pit for him to fall into, they end up falling into the same pit that they dig for you. Okay? So some people, even though they dig a hole for you to fall in, they're going to fall into the same hole just because you belong to God. So royal people, keep on shining, keep on doing the right thing, because in God's righteousness, you're protected, you're covered, and God got you covered. And because God is with you, you don't have to fight and get outlandish with folks. You can still be smart and be holy at the same time, and use the wisdom that God has given you. Before you do things, ask God what to do. Ask God to help you. All right. So you all, thank you. Take care. And I'll see you in the next broadcast.